So thus, what is the law of diminishing marginal utility? It states that, the law states that as a consumer is consuming more and more units of a particular commodity, the marginal utility, the satisfaction derived from every successive units goes on decreasing. The extra utility derived from the consumption of a commodity, that is from the every successive units of a commodity, goes on decreasing. This we have seen already. So total utility first increases at a decreasing rate. It increases 10 to 16, 16 to 20, 20 to 22. It increases at a decreasing rate, then remains constant, maximum, then falls. So while we take marginal utility exclusively, it falls at every stage but remains positive in the first stage, then becomes 0, then negative. A normal consumer won't consume beyond marginal utility when it becomes 0. 0 utility means the consumer is not deriving any satisfaction at all by consuming that commodity. A normal consumer, ordinary consumer, won't consume beyond that. So 0 utility. After that, if he takes one more unit, the utility becomes negative. As we know, when a person is thirsty, when he sees a glass of water, he wants a glass of water, he drinks the first glass, he gets high satisfaction, he goes for second glass, third, fourth. But the satisfaction derived from the first glass is high, but where will he stop? He will go on consuming 10 glasses level? No. An ordinary consumer will stop somewhere where he is not deriving any satisfaction at all because his thirst is already quenched. So he will stop somewhere. Where is it? When he is not deriving any satisfaction at all by consuming one more glass. So that may be the fourth glass or fifth glass. So according to this example, at the fifth level, utility is 0, no satisfaction. So no consumer would consume beyond that. So this nature of satisfaction, this nature of marginal utility, this nature of extra utility derived by a consumer by consuming one more unit of the commodity, it goes on decreasing and later it becomes negative. This is expressed in the form of a graph. And this unit of consumption where marginal utility is 0, this is the point of satiety or point of saturation. So that means the maximum is consumed. The normal consumer would stop consuming that particular commodity. Okay, and at that time total utility is maximum. And this point is the point of satiety or saturation. So after that you can see marginal utility becomes negative. And there are some assumptions. There are some assumptions where this law works. You know, there are certain commodities. Whatever quantity a consumer consumes, the consumer is not ready to stop the consumption. It can be rare things, costly things. It can be diamonds, gold, diamond. What about money? So there are exceptions, but we are talking about here an ordinary consumer and the common goods used by the ordinary consumers. So there are some assumptions to this law. What are the assumptions? If this law is to work as it is, there are some assumptions. What are they? Every economic theory is based on a few assumptions. The first assumption, income of the consumer is remaining fixed. There is no change in the income of the consumer. If the income comes down, then he may not be ready to purchase whatever units he is consuming. If it is more, also the nature of consumption might change. So the income of the consumer is remaining fixed. What about the price of the commodity? It is also remaining fixed. That is another assumption. Then cardinal measurement of utility. This utility can be measured in numbers, and as I have mentioned in my previous slide, this utility can be measured in units, and it is expressed in terms of money. That is another assumption. Third one, consumption of reasonable quantity. What is reasonable quantity? If you are eating apple, the whole apple, we mean the consumption of the whole apple, not a small piece of apple. So reasonable quantity. If we mention 1 unit of apple, 1 apple, whole apple. Okay. Then rational consumer. Consumer is rational. His intention is to get maximum satisfaction. Then consumption of successive units. This I have already explained. If you are consuming a particular commodity, its consumption of the continuous consumption. It means continuous consumption. There is no break in the consumption. 1 apple in the morning, another in the afternoon, evening, no. Successive units. Okay. Then, as I have mentioned, consumer is an ordinary consumer, not extraordinary. Okay. So, limited income. Income remains constant. Then, marginal utility. Cardinal measurement of utility is possible. Utility can be, satisfaction can be measured in terms of money. Consumer we are talking about is a rational consumer, ordinary consumer, and consumption of reasonable quantity, continuous consumption. All these are the assumptions of law of diminishing marginal utility. Now you know what is a consumer's behavior. It depends on income and price of the commodity, his or her taste and preferences. There are many factors influencing the need of the consumer. Preferences are there. Consumer's preferences are there, but a consumer cannot purchase all he prefers because of his limited income, price of the commodity. Then satisfaction of a consumer is expressed in utility, and it is expressed in cardinal utility and ordinal utility. This also we have seen. Cardinal utility in numbers, it is measurable. Ordinal utility, we are going to see what is ordinal utility. It is a ranking. It is preferences of 2 commodities. Then the nature of utility. 3 types of utility: total utility, marginal, average, how it is calculated. Then what is the nature of utility? It goes on diminishing. The calculation, what is point of satiety, point of saturation, all these we have seen. You can also refer the notes that will be attached with this module. Next, we will discuss consumer's equilibrium. Now you can refer notes. Who is a consumer? What is his behavior? What are his preferences while he wants to purchase a commodity? Many factors influence his behavior in the market. That is income of the consumer, price of the commodities. Nowadays online shopping is influencing the people because, as you know, internet is a modern effective tool for business transactions. It has revolutionized the concept of shopping.
And this electronic commerce allows consumers to easily purchase goods and services directly from a retail seller over the internet. It is a growing and trending aspect, and it offers a variety of products. And as it is time saving and convenient way of shopping, many people now prefer online shopping, but there are many limitations. People who don't know how to use smartphones cannot do online shopping. While doing online shopping, one can only see the products virtually, and there are many risks involved in this, because the product is not, you are not receiving the product instantly, and when you get the product after ordering, there can be some changes the consumer see from the product they ordered online. So there are many risks, but one thing why I am mentioning this point, the shopping is not like, or consumption of goods and services is not like yesteryears. Advertisement, many social groups are influencing now the consumers. The preferences of the consumers are very much influenced by social groups and advertisement. Advertising and marketing by many industries intend to get more consumers to consume their product, and their main way to interact with the consumers, that is on the basis of price and their needs. The main way that the consumers interact with the market is on the basis of price and their needs. So the grocery shop, supermarket, they frequently provide coupons, specials, a lot of other advantages to attract the customers. They use buy one get one free specials. The shop collect the mobile number, email address of the customers, sending promotional email, SMS from time to time, collecting the date of birth of the customer and sending them birthday wishes, providing free Wi-Fi. So many techniques are used by the sellers nowadays to attract the customers or consumers. And I have already mentioned the difference between customer and whatever techniques are used by the market. And the consumer will purchase depending on his taste and preference, income and price of the goods in the market. Whether it is online shopping or offline shopping, whatever new ways are coming for shopping, the consumers will consider the income and price of the goods in the market. And what is the aim of a consumer? A normal consumer, ordinary consumer, he wants maximum satisfaction while consuming a product. When he pays the price for the commodity from his income, he makes a payment from his income. So he wants to get satisfaction while consuming the commodity. First of all, he prefers a commodity. Then when he purchases and uses it, he wants maximum satisfaction. And this satisfaction in economics is called utility. Power of a commodity to satisfy human want. And it is subjective and relative. All these we have already discussed. It differs from person to person, place to place, and time to time. Different individuals can get different levels of utilities from the same commodity. For example, someone who likes ice cream will get much higher utility from an ice cream than someone who is not so fond of ice cream. Utility measured in utils, and economists express utils in money terms. And if 1 rupee is equal to 20 utils, then as per this assumption, if a consumer derives 100 utils of satisfaction on consumption of a good, the utility is taken as worth 5 rupees, and utility is expressed as total, marginal and average utility. This cardinal utility measurement, that is, utility can be measured, that concept is developed by Alfred Marshall. And according to the cardinal utility developed by the famous economist Marshall, states that utility is a cardinal concept, as I have mentioned many times now. It is measurable It can be measured in numbers, and it is assumed that utility derived from 1 unit of, this is the main point you have to understand, utility derived from 1 unit of the commodity is equal to what? To the amount of money which a consumer is ready to pay for it. Okay, satisfaction derived from 1 unit of the commodity is equal to the amount of money which a consumer is ready to pay for it. So 1 util is equal to 1 unit of money. This example I have mentioned earlier. 1 util is equal to 1 unit of money. Hence, you can say that you derive a utility of 20 utils from consuming 1 unit of commodity A and 10 utils only from consuming 1 unit of commodity B. So this way a consumer can compare different commodities and analyze which commodity offers better utility or satisfaction. This is purely a psychological concept. And utility is of 3 types: total, marginal, and average utility. The total satisfaction of a consumer from a given commodity or service, which is otherwise defined as sum of marginal utility, sigma mu. Marginal utility is the addition made to total utility by consuming an extra unit of a commodity. And average utility is total utility divided by number of units consumed. And what is the relation between total and marginal utility? When more units of a commodity is consumed, marginal utility goes on decreasing. When mu decreases but remains positive, total utility rises. When marginal utility is 0, total utility is maximum. When marginal utility becomes negative, total utility falls. This we have seen. Total utility is rising, but at a unit level it becomes constant, then falls. So, but marginal utility is always coming down. It reduces, goes on decreasing. This you can see in the diagram, and in the table. That diagram is derived from the given table. And see the point M in the diagram. There Tu is maximum and Mu is 0. A normal consumer won't consume a commodity beyond that, because at the 5th unit Mu is 0 means the consumer is not deriving any satisfaction at all. If he consumes 1 more unit, then marginal utility becomes negative. No consumer would be ready to pay and get the commodity. So, when Mu is 0, Tu is maximum. When Mu becomes negative, Tu falls. A rational consumer will stop consuming the commodity at the point at which Mu becomes negative, even if the good is free of cost. So, in short, a consumer increases consumption of a good so long its additional units provide him positive marginal utility. So, a consumer increases consumption of a good so long its additional units provide him positive marginal utility. Thus, as a consumer consumes more and more units of a specific commodity, utility from the successive units goes on diminishing. This is known as law of diminishing marginal utility. This law is based upon an important fact. As an individual consumes more and more units of a good, intensity of his want for the good goes on falling, and a point is reached where the individual no longer wants any more units of the good. That is when saturation point is reached. Marginal utility of a good becomes 0. Zero marginal utility of a good implies that individual has all that he wants of the good, that he has reached the point of satiety, the point of saturation. You can check the table given here, the same table exclusively of marginal utility. And at the fifth unit, the point of satiety is reached, or the point of saturation. So every rational consumer wants to maximize satisfaction. And how does a rational consumer maximize his satisfaction? That term in economics, maximizing satisfaction, it is called consumer's equilibrium. How does a rational consumer reaches consumer's equilibrium? It is a main topic of the chapter. And one more example I have given here. When one feels thirsty, one drinks water, and the first glass gives high satisfaction, and the consumer may consume second, third or fourth glasses of water. The utility goes on diminishing with the consumption of every successive glass of water till it drops down to zero. The economists have stated that consumer is rational. That is, he wants to maximize his satisfaction and hence will never go beyond zero marginal utility stage. It is a position of consumer's equilibrium or maximum satisfaction. And this is what we are going to see in the next class.